Welcome to another episode of Well-Adjusted Mama. I'm your host, Dr. Laura Brayton, and this is a podcast dedicated to educating and empowering women from preconception, pregnancy, birth, and through early motherhood on wellness lifestyle. I'm a maternity pediatric chiropractor as well as a mother, and I've hand-selected experts in natural holistic healthcare specialties to shine light on options and choices during this exciting phase of a woman's life. And today's topic is focusing on from fatigue to fired up with Tiffany Cagwin for all you tired mamas out there. This is going to be a real treat for you. Tiffany is a certified functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, board certified holistic health practitioner, and yoga teacher. She's an experienced executive leader and transformational coach who has a passion for helping others thrive by guiding them to shift their mindset, take action toward goals, and embrace self-care. An explorer at heart with a never-ending curiosity for learning new things, she's constantly expanding her education and has received additional training in Nutrigenomics, hair tissue mineral analysis, Bioenergetics, Hypnotherapy, quantum biology, and biophysics. And if you want to learn more about Tiffany, you can check her out at her website, tiffanycagwin.com. And she's also found on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. That's TiffanyCagwin. Hi, Tiffany. Welcome to the show. I'm very excited to have you on today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So we're going to talk about how new moms can go from fatigue to fired up and what that looks like, why that's possible, even if it seems like all moms are exhausted and drained and just barely getting by. That doesn't have to be your life experience as a mom. And also why it's not easy, but it is doable with specific action steps. So I'm really excited for you to tell the audience a little bit about who you are and why you feel so passionate about this topic.
Yeah, great. Thank you. I'm so excited. You and I were talking briefly before, and I just said, I've been there. This is why. I mean, in a nutshell, this is why I'm passionate about it. Is because, my son is grown now, as I was sharing, but I've been there, and I see women struggling at this stage, and I figured out how to feel better, but it took me a really long time. And so I want to help people feel better now. That's ultimately what it is. Yeah. I'm just like, it took me, honestly, it was a 20-year journey for me of figuring out all the pieces. And I'm like, I've gained all this knowledge, and now I want to help because I want people to live vibrant lives and have energy and, not wait until their kids are grown till they take care of themselves.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the theme in this podcast is always mama self-care, and that is a continuum. It doesn't have to wait until your kids are more self-sufficient or adults or out of the house. Like, now is the time we put our own oxygen mask on first to care as women. We care for so many people in our life, including our children. So what can a mom do who is feeling exhausted to start to feel better?
Yeah. So this is, of course, it's a huge topic because it also depends on factors of lifestyle. But I want to talk about like big impact things that I see when I work with clients. This is like the fundamental. We start with this, which is as much as possible starting to sync with nature and circadian rhythm more. Like if you're doing nothing else, this actually, I think, is the most fundamental piece. And the beauty about it is, and again, you said it, it's not necessarily easy, right? But it's not easy to implement, but it actually is a simple solution. And once you get into the rhythm of it, what I find with the moms that I work with is, there's a period of like commitment and adjusting to doing these things, which I'm going to share with you. But then it's like, I get the call and they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I'm never going back. And what I was going to say is the beauty of it is that I think also in taking care of yourself at any age with the children, you're teaching them the same things. It's better for their health as well. And you're teaching them habits. And I do have, clients that marvel at that as well. Like I have one one in particular who, and she lives in somewhere where it's kind of difficult to get outside. It's cold, it's dark, a lot when we started working together, but she bundles up her baby and goes outside and looks at the sunrise and these things that I'm going to share. So, it's like, it's taking care of yourself, but it actually also is serving your children.
Yes.
When you start to do these things. Yeah. So basically at a fundamental level, where I think moms need to start to increase energy, because the energy is being drained, and that just is what it is. You can't remove that there's going to be those stressors, but what needs to happen is a lot more intentionality around how we get the inputs in. So at a really base level, I'm going to take you back to 8th grade science really quick. I won't nerd out over this, but it's worth mentioning that actually what we're trying to target when we're trying to help people deal with extreme fatigue is supporting the mitochondria as best as possible. And the mitochondria we learn in 8th grade, they're the powerhouse, they're the energy production. They're organelles that are actually not even human. They're organelles that work symbiotically with us. They take their cues from nature. It's important to say that because they're actually taking their cues from nature. So you can't give them the inputs that make sense to them without connecting to the rhythms of the outdoors. And so this becomes like the focus. And as much as possible, trying to build these habits into your day, which is seeing sunrise with your naked eyes, if possible. And it doesn't have to be actually viewing the sunrise, which is incredible if you can, but some people live in a place where the sun doesn't directly come up where they are. But just being outside during that time of day and allowing your eyes to see the first morning light. And then if you can, staying outside for, 10 to at least 10 minutes, but if you can maybe walk during that time, then that's actually a really healing, powerful part of the day, because the wavelength spectrums are like red light, infrared light, which is going to help the most with energy and healing. So again, keeping in mind that what we're trying to do is like feed the mitochondria as much as possible with the right inputs so that they can do their job, which is not just energy production. They actually run everything. They sync your circadian rhythm. They manage your digestion, your hormones. They do all the repair of your body. Like they're basically sending the signals for almost everything that's happening in your body. So that's why it's so important to focus on giving them what they need. So seeing first morning light and trying to spend.
I actually didn't realize it was a red infrared. I mean, a lot of people know about red light. Like it's pretty popular now for anti-aging, for the skin and such. So I didn't realize that sunrise was providing that.
Yeah. Sunrise so there's, the sunrise, right after sunrise is really when the red and the infrared. So there's a period of like, right after sunrise, and then UVA spectrum before we get into UVB, which is the big, the main part of the day that we think of with the sun, with like
the cancer.
Or in vitamin D production. I mean, you need UVB for vitamin D, and, it does serve a really healthy purpose. But that morning and then after sunset, those are the two where you get the red and the infrared. And it's so therapeutic and it's so healing. So as much as you can be outside during those windows. And so with moms that I work with, that's where we start, is I try to get them to build a habit around being outside for as much as they can during that morning and that evening. And those are the great places to start, because that's just going to provide the most benefit in terms of like healing, repairing the energy and starting to move you in the right direction. So those are important. And then if you can get outside a little bit during the day, during that UVB, it is good because you want the vitamin D production. You want to be outside at bits of the full spectrum is ultimately like what it is. There's different cues your body's taking from different parts of the day. And so even if it's literally just stepping outside. So, like I have one client who has made this a whole ritual with both of her daughters, and they go outside in the morning before school and they sip, like the daughter sips like warm water. She has her coffee, the mom has her coffee, and they just like, do the morning sunlight, and she has, she's got the baby, and they walk and they just do a little, it's not long, but it's like, 15 minutes, and they talk about the day and they set an intention. They've really used it to build on this like beautiful, family ritual that they do. that starts the day really nice for everybody. Yeah. So things like that. And then the other bits of nature that are really important is like then when you're outside, and this of course depends on the time of year, but if you can get your bare feet in the grass and like ground and pull up the grounding energy, that we need, that magnetism from the earth, touch a tree, some stuff like that. If you live near water, be near the water, get in the water. These are the ways that we are providing, like I keep saying, these inputs to the mitochondria. So they require, again, one more little nerdy sciencey thing, but I do think it's helpful for people to understand. Our bodies, the mitochondria require electrons, and we all know about those, right? The only way to get those, though, is from nature. So you have to get it from water, from the earth, from touching, or if you garden, if people do like gardening or, these kinds of things where you're just interacting as much as you can with
walking
nature.
On the beach.
Yes, exactly. Depending on where you live, like take advantage of the surroundings, and all year round. It doesn't matter what time of year. So even if I get these questions like, well, what if it's overcast or what if it's cold? Do it anyways, because your eyes are still taking in the colors, and that's actually what is setting the rhythm. It's the wavelengths, the color. It knows, it's like reading the colors, and then it knows what time of day it is. It's fascinating, I think. I nerd out over this, but it's like these little things like make a big difference.
It's so fascinating. And as you're saying this, I'm like, can we get rid of daylight savings time? Like, I'm so ready.
So many people are advocates of that for so many reasons. And I'm with you. Like, yeah.
It really screws up the kids' circadian rhythm.
Yeah.
Because they're not really used to reading the clock. They're just going based off of the light. And, it's like, what do you mean? I have to, get up now. It's like pitch black outside.
I know. It really is. It's quite, this is talked about in the circle of people that are like passionate about circadian health is daylight savings and how detrimental it actually is, because then we have to live, within this framework of the clock, and it's not natural for our bodies. Like our bodies ideally are just going with the season, the time, when the sun rises, you're waking up, when the sun sets, you're like, calming down for the day. And then artificial light, of course, just throws a whole wrench in the whole thing. Cause then the body is like really confused actually. Cause it's like at 9:00 at night, the bulbs have full spectrum. They have a lot of blue light, which only should happen during the middle of the day outside. So then it's quite confusing because it's like, well, it's noon to our bodies, to the mitochondria, to our bodies. It thinks it's noon. And so it's going to keep producing cortisol.
Right.
Which then, and then it doesn't allow melatonin, and then you're not sleeping. So This is why, like this to me, and I don't know why, but not many people talk about it. They talk about the foods you eat. They talk about, exercise, certain supplements, all these things. And those are really important, but like, this is key. This is actually absolutely fundamental for our energy. And this is the thing for me that I think moms, if they can find ways to start building these rhythms in, the impact is huge. It's like little changes make huge impacts when you're working with this stuff.
Right. And it's not a huge commitment either. We're talking a few minutes a day, bring your own baby, put them in a carrier. And, I think I've done episodes too for women that are living in colder environments where, just because it's like snowing or cold outside doesn't mean that you don't go outdoors, right? You just dress for the weather. If it's raining, just dress for the weather. Yeah. Throw on a raincoat, whatever.
Yeah. And I think it is helpful then when you know that this is also why, right? Because then it's like, well, that's actually, our bodies should be pretty resilient. And it's good to give them different temperatures as well. It's good to be outside and allow it to adapt, because that's actually builds resilience for the mitochondria and it makes them healthier. And the cold, I used to live in upstate New York. So, for 18 years, I dealt with 6 months of winter.
Wow.
And when I started to embrace these principles, I'll tell you, it's not like one day I was like, this is amazing. I'm going to do this so easy. It was not easy to do. But as I did start to embrace it, it did. I was feeling better, but it also it it was helpful for my mood too, because instead of then just kind of being stuck in the house in winter, being on devices more, just keeping myself sort of hermited inside, it was invigorating. And it was just like, it just actually felt better once the habit was formed to do it. But yeah.
Yeah, it's creating those habits. I was just thinking, like, when I go down to the beach house this summer, I'm like, I'm going to set my alarm and go walk on the beach and look for that sunrise. I mean, now with our technology, we can even know exactly what time the sunrise is happening at that day, and make that a priority, because I haven't been able to do that in like a long time. And it sounds amazing.
It is. It's like one of those, once you do never fails when my clients do this. I make them commit for a week, because everybody has reasons.
Every day for a week.
Yeah. I'm like, when I start with them, I'm like, you have to do this for a week, every day. You have to promise, you have to commit. And they do it. And then I've never had a single client who doesn't contact me and say like, well, that's it. I'm hooked for life. I'm never going back. Like I will never miss it again, because it's that profound. They instantly, they sleep better. Their digestion is better. Their mood is better. Their energy is better during the day. And they're like, I don't understand how this one simple change, and I'm like, but it's that powerful. So yeah, I mean.
And what about sunsets? Does it have the same impact? Yes. Are your clients doing this twice a day?
Ideally, I tell them if they can only prioritize one, if they can only do one or the other, it's better than nothing. Like yes, one way or the other is better than nothing. Ideally, you're doing both. If you can do that, great. If you can't, it's okay. But both is best. And then, I wanted to mention the apps, because you said those apps. So there is two that I think are really helpful to help people like understand, and they'll cue you to where you live. One is called Circadian. And it will show you what we were talking about at the beginning, like where the red light is and the infrared, where the UVA is, where the UVB is. So it'll tell you, and then it actually will go into like the ideal times. It's you can really get involved with it, but like the ideal time to exercise, the ideal time to eat, it'll tell you more if you want, but you could just use it for like understanding like what, where the sun is at that point and what times. And then there's another really good one called D-Minder, and it's just the letter D and then Minder. And that one's good because it'll tell you the UV index. It'll tell you sunrise and sunset time where you're at. But it'll tell you like when your best opportunity is for vitamin D, but you can plug in like your skin type. And so it'll tell you how much time to safely be outside to get what you need for health without like overdoing it. So I really like that one as well. And that's also
without sunscreen, right? Like, cause that's the thing is your skin needs no sunscreen on it to make the vitamin D.
Yes. You ideally need to be outside with no glasses, no sunglasses, no sunscreen, because you want your eyes to be able to take in the full wavelengths. And let's say it's the middle of the day and there's that UVB that we know of, and that's what gives you the color, the melanin. Actually wearing sunglasses can prevent the skin from protecting itself from the UV, because this is how intelligent our bodies are. Like, wow. It knows it's UVB time, and then it actually releases a protection that will help protect against burning. So wearing sunglasses will make you more prone to burning.
Oh, I like wearing sunglasses.
I know everybody does. They're so attached to it. But I'm saying at least for that time when you're trying to get the healthy, at least for that time, go without, or wear a hat or something like that. But sure, that's what I mean. Like these little things, it's like do what you can is better than like nothing,
Yes.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Yeah. It's so cool. I get really excited if you can't tell.
Yes. I mean, it's really just going back to nature, right?
Yes.
And I mean, we certainly have talked about in other episodes, the grounding, going for hikes, certainly being in nature and how that's so healthy and balancing from an adaptogenic perspective, and then also hormone balancing. And then as I'm thinking about it, like also looking at the full moon is really important for us as women to help with our menstrual cycles, right? And syncing up with the moon. Can you talk about that at all?
Yeah. I mean, it's, ultimately like your hitting on this broader topic, which is that, we actually are really we are so intricately connected to the earth, to the planets, to the rhythms of we do separate ourselves from it. And this is why we have dysfunction. And so what I like to say to people is we want natural health, but we're living very artificial lives. And you just can't, they don't go hand in hand. Right. And there's all this biohacking and this and that. And I went down that rabbit hole and I had all the devices and I could have basically never left my house because I had the red light and infrared sauna and I had the treadmill under my desk and I walked while I worked and I was very productive. And it's all I needed to do was go outside and look at the moon, right? Or, look at the sun or be in the rain or be in the cold. And it's just being outside is helpful. Honestly, being aware of all the phases of the moon, I find to be really important. And for two reasons. One, it does help with your cycle syncing. Well, actually, there's a few reasons. It does help with the cycle syncing and hormone balancing.
Which I don't even really fully understand. Do you know how our menstrual cycle is so connected to the moon? It's 28 days.
Yeah, I know a little bit. I'm not an expert, but I can tell you actually, and this comes from my 20 years of, yoga and Ayurveda, which is that if you think about, this is the best way a teacher taught me that we talk about EMFs in a negative way now, right? But actually there's natural EMFs, electromagnetic fields. Mm-hmm. The ones we talk about that are bad are the non-native, that are coming from non-native EMFs. So just to be clear that these are different. So, basically from I'll just say the cosmos in general, in the earth, we're getting electromagnetic frequencies. And those frequencies given from nature are matching to certain frequencies in our body. And so then it's just an information delivery system, right? So there's just certain codes built into this, for lack of a better, it's just the most simple way to understand it is that it's like sending information to our bodies. So that's kind of one layer. But what a teacher explained to me was that it's literally the magnetic pull, these forces, physics, it's physics. And if you think about how the moon affects tides, in the ocean, right. It literally moves the water. It massively moves the water. And so if you think about women and our cycles, and then it's of course, as if you're, if you're connected to this, this rhythm, and then that, so let's say you're in that part of your cycle, the fluid's starting to build in your body, and then you get to that part, and just like the moon is affecting the tides, it's going to affect the water in your body, and it's going to force the release. That's basically how an Ayurvedic teacher explained it to me. Now, the actual, there's, I'm sure, much more detailed science, and somebody who knows it is probably she really oversimplified that. But it's a helpful way for me to understand. I'm yes, of course, that would make sense to me. It moves the oceans. Of course, it's going to move the fluid in our body. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And when we have our periods out of sync with the moon, then we can also see a lot of dis-ease, right?
Yes.
We can see the dysmenorrhea and even fertility challenges because the body is just not, in rhythm.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. This is what this all boils down to, which is that, these mitochondria, like I said, that I think that's why it's important to understand that they're not human, is that they don't understand, they're just taking cues directly from nature. It's what they're programmed to do. And then they're telling our bodies everything. They're setting the hormones, they're setting the rhythm, they're setting the repair. So if they're confused about what time of year it is, what time of day it is, if they don't understand, then it's just chaos. They're sending all the signals. And so you have to give them the right cues, and then they know what to do. They're running, and then it all just works beautifully. And that, I think, that's the other bit about going out in nature. is that not only does it positively affect our bodies, but I think there's something about watching the rhythm as well, and then realizing how harmonious it all works. And then it's like, okay, well, you're watching it around you and you see the harmony and the balance, and then recognizing we're part of that. We're not separate from it. And so then you're like, oh, so this is why then my body can be harmonized using the same principles.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to go down another rabbit hole about, climate change and everything that's really not relevant to this
That's for another
conversation.
day.
I mean, how do we help Mother Earth? But that's a whole nother conversation. So right now, Mother Earth has the ability, and the cosmos has the ability to help us.
Yes.
Right. And, what else can we do to help get ourselves back in sync?
Yeah. So I talked about these sort of like what I call these bookends, the morning and the night, and then trying to get out during the day, doing these things, these grounding things. And then of course, like nutrition, we can't have this conversation around energy without nutrition, because we do need to be nourishing our bodies, because that's the one other way that we do get electrons is through whole foods, because those whole foods have been grown in the earth. So they have, they have the electrons, they have the information that our bodies need, and we need minerals. So I'm going to talk about minerals. Minerals is like the other main deficiency that I see with clients that I work with. And, I would say, I feel pretty comfortable saying that like the majority of people, unless they're being specific and intentional about minerals, are mineral depleted, because our foods are really depleted from minerals anyway. So even if you're somebody who's eating the most pure, beautiful diet, and you're just eating nothing but whole foods, and you're eating loads of vegetables and loads of fruit, and you're eating grass-fed meats, and you're doing all the things, you still can't get enough minerals, just because our soil at this point is so, back to the rabbit hole you wanted to go down. Our soil is really depleted. It's just the reality, unfortunately. So this is the one thing. I'm not a fan of over supplementing. I'm a fan of like using supplements therapeutically for a specific purpose, for a specific period of time. They're helpful. I don't think just throwing supplements at things and then having people be on loads of supplements is the answer to anything. The exception would be, I think basically everybody's got to be supplementing minerals and doing that for life.
Wow.
Yeah. Because we can't get enough. No matter what we do, we can't get enough. And so
it's so true. And I do know that the non-native EMF depletes our body of magnesium.
Yes.
So that's a big thing. So just once again, that living artificially is going to create some of that mineral deficiency, in addition to the nutrient depleted soil that you mentioned.
Yes. And it's dehydrating us. The EMFs are dehydrating us. And then, you're going to be shocked what I say. It all comes back to the mitochondria, because they can't, so then they're trying to keep up with the hydration depletion, and they make a type of water in our body called easy water, like fourth stage water. We won't go down that rabbit hole right now, but it's really it's a structured water, is actually what our cells use. So they have to convert it. And when EMFs are depleting it, then it's extra hard for them to do it, but they need minerals to run the processes. So it all gets linked. So this is where it like kind of all converges, which is that in addition to the syncing with nature, hydrating properly, we have to be getting enough minerals, because then the mitochondria use minerals. So when they're sending signals, they use the minerals as the messengers essentially to do processes. I'm oversimplifying it, but basically at the base, minerals are key for everything.
It makes a lot of sense. I educate people in my practice about real salt, right? And like how that's, versus just the iodinized processed salt. And so I cut up an avocado yesterday morning, and I just sprinkled some of my real salt on it. And after I ate it, I was like, I want more salt. And it wasn't just the salt, because real salt isn't just sodium. It's all the other minerals from the earth in it, right?
Yes.
And clearly my body needed some minerals yesterday morning, because I was like licking the salt off my fingers, the real salt. And I knew it wasn't like a salt craving. It was a mineral craving.
Yes. Yeah. So those are all the trace minerals that you're talking about. Like that's what we're missing. Yes. So yes, I love that. And I love that you tell people that, because we need to be using real salt, and we really don't need to be scared of it. And when you're feeling that way, like, and I honestly, I put it in my coffee in the morning. I always start my morning. I have a glass of water that I use. So my morning, like first thing, I drink a giant glass of water that I've put, Quinton minerals in. I don't know if you've heard of Quinton. It's Quinton, but they're sea minerals. So I crack a few ampules of those into water, and I start my day with that. I do a hydrogen tab, some Quinton minerals. I have a big glass of mineral, and then I make my coffee after I've had protein. I always have protein first, but anyways, my coffee, I blend it with a little bit of coconut oil. Usually, I just like it, and then I sprinkle mineral salt in it. Just a little bit, but it's not, it's nice. I love it. So don't be shy about salt for sure. Magnesium you mentioned.
And I have a question, that mineral that you mentioned, does it make it taste like the ocean? Is it really like,
it's intense. Yeah. It's pretty, it's pretty sea tasting. Yes. Okay. So I wouldn't put it in, and actually it's ideal to have it on an empty stomach. So you can put it in water. I'm just so used to them. So they come in these glass ampules. And so I crack them into a glass, and then I'll either put it in water, or sometimes I just drink them, but then I hold them under my tongue for a little while and just let them absorb. But it's very salty. They make two. They make a hypertonic and an isotonic. The hypertonic is concentrated. So it's like just pure seawater. The isotonic is mixed with a distilled water, so it's a little less intense. So some people, like some of my clients will do or I'll advise them to do like the hypertonic maybe in the morning, and then the isotonic, depending on where their minerals are at, like how much we're trying to get minerals back in the body. So that's kind of, that is a great way to start for people, is just doing something like that. I think depending on how that goes, then I do advise people, if they're doing these things and after some time, there's still an energy drain, the fatigue is just kind of not going away. It's a really good idea to get a hair tissue mineral test and to look at your particular balance to see what's depleted. So you're not just guessing, really, I would say safely, everyone can add extra magnesium, because we're all being super depleted from magnesium, especially women. Magnesium is a stress mineral. So as soon as there's any stressors, that's what the body's going to use first. So you really can't overdo the magnesium. And I like it in all different forms. Take it in like an electrolyte drink, take a supplement, rub lotion on you, do Epsom salt baths, like get magnesium in many different forms. But then, like I said, it's helpful. The next level is then doing hair tissue mineral and seeing like really where you're specifically imbalanced, to really customize then how you're like using minerals. And I personally work with a company called Vicon Customs, and then I create like custom blends for my clients, because it gives them the exact blend and ratio of where their minerals are off balance, because some work synergistically, some work antagonistically. So you could inadvertently sometimes be throwing them off more, like if, depending on like where your specific deficiency is or imbalance, you could be like kind of accidentally making it worse.
And the hair tissue also shows if you have too many heavy metals as well, correct? Yes. So it can show like if there's some toxicity, which would also impact energy and fatigue.
Absolutely. It's also a good indication too, if there's anything, if we need to go further with a gut test, because there's some things that show up on the hair tissue mineral that could indicate that there's some gut distress as well. So if you don't want to just do like a gut test right away, I tell people like, it's really good to start with the hair tissue mineral at the least, and then it'll kind of give you a clue if you need to go any further with further functional testing.
And what if you're a woman who dyes her hair?
You do have to give it some time. So you do just time it so that you basically like wait. You should ideally wait a couple weeks after you've dyed it. And then what I advise my clients who do dye their hair is like do your hair tissue right before you're going to do your next coloring so that it's grown out enough. Because you only take the hair closest to the scalp. So generally it has grown out enough at that point, and then you take it then. So it's just a matter of timing at that point. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Yeah. So to wrap that part up, I mean, the minerals is another place that like, sometimes it's just as simple as doing the Quinton, adding some extra magnesium, doing the circadian things. And then people are like, oh my God, I feel amazing. And then like
I love flotation therapy. So that's definitely the Epsom salt as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Magnesium.
I mean, that's why I just like ran away to Greece for a month. Cause I was like, I just need to get in the Aegean Sea for a month and like float every day.
That is your flotation therapy. You don't need a little pod to do it.
I will now that I'm like, I'm leaving, but that was my in nature flotation pod for a month. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. And so what else? Any other last tips that you want to share?
The last thing that I think is really important, and this is the one, and I know like, don't shoot the messenger, but limiting the device time, because for all the reasons we said, it's going to throw off the circadian rhythm. It's going to deplete your minerals. It's going to stress the mitochondria. It's going to dehydrate you. The more you're on devices, the more you're countering everything else that you're trying to do. So if you really want your energy to come back and you want to feel good and you want to have energy during the day, and these things that come with it, brain fog and, just that like mood issues, like it's like we struggle because we're so tired, and being on devices is making it worse. So this is the one people just get they're like, yeah, but don't take my Netflix. And I'm like, I know, but so here's my like biohacks. I'll give a little wiggle room, which is that if you're going
blue
to
glasses,
yes, blue blockers. And then ideally if you're on a device in the evening, having ones that have red lenses is better after sunset. So you can use the yellow blue blockers like during the day for just your like device, like computers, phones, whatever. I personally also turn my phone to red, like after sunset. You can program it to like, if you do 3 clicks, there's a shortcut for you could just Google for like iPhone, Android, whatever you have, like shortcut to turn phone red. And so you just have to go into settings. Oh. Yeah, it's so cool. And you program it so that you just do the 3 clicks on the side. It'll turn the screen completely red. The advantages of that is that it does eliminate the blue light, but it makes it way less interesting. So you can function, you can do things that are necessary if you need to, but you're not going to want to scroll, and you're not going to, because it's just like not interesting. It's very boring. So
because everything looks red.
Yeah, everything looks red. So you can, if you have to answer a message, you can. If you have to like answer emails, you can. But like scrolling through Instagram or something is like it's fun. It's funny to try. And you're like 2 seconds in, you're like, no, I don't care because I can't see anything. There's no colors. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I turn mine red after sunset, and then I don't turn it back to normal until after that like UVA time that I mentioned in the morning. So you can, again, you can still use it in the morning if you need to for an alarm or answering a message or something, but you're not turning it like back to that like full spectrum until after. There are some people who are hardcore and they keep it red all day. I can't do that.
Wow.
I'm going to be honest.
I could see why like we're learning how addictive social media is. Like you mentioned, the scrolling, especially for the tween teens, but even adults, right? It's like an addictive thing. Like people are like, it's like a FOMO. Like, what am I missing? I got to see it. I got to see it. My husband loves scrolling right before bed, right? Yeah. And I'm just like, who cares? Right. But that's like his relaxation, right? Maybe we should just have him do a walk around the neighborhood instead.
Yeah. Well, and that's, again, this is going to be unpopular. I do challenge people when they say to me that that's the relaxation. I'm like, I know that that's what you perceive as helping you relax, but actually it is having the opposite effect on your nervous system. Maybe you're able to and I understand the mental disconnect of it, but the damage that's causing to the nervous system, the information it's giving to your body on a cellular level, it's the opposite of relaxing. It's creating more actual systemic stress. And over time that compounds,
So are you saying the blue light is really increasing sympathetic?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Yeah. In fact, there's even at this point, there's a term for blue light toxicity. They know all these symptoms it's starting to cause for us. And again, over years, this compounds. It's not one night of this isn't going to be a problem. Friday night or Saturday night, okay. But when it's 7 days a week and it's compounding over years and years and years and years, it's really, really detrimental. And we're starting to see it more and more in the symptoms that are coming up. So much more early onset dementia. You've got people in their 30s now. It's so common. I'm in a documentary. We're at the beginning of filming a documentary that is going to take people through a healing process, different families and people. And we just started the filming, and the one couple that lives in Canada, he's in his 40s, but he's been diagnosed with early onset dementia. And they told him his kids will know his personality for maybe the next couple of years. They have 3 little kids. Right. And so it's
horrible.
I know it, again, I know it's so unpopular, but this is not, the way we're living is not natural for the biological creatures that we are. And it is, yes, it's modern life and it's very common and everybody's doing it, but it doesn't mean that it's compatible with natural health and sustainable health and our longevity, because it just doesn't match.
Right. I just finished a book, Ultra Processed People, that really spoke to how eating these foods that our body's never been exposed to until the past few decades does not know what to do with it. Right. And we haven't evolved. We're still very much like our cave women sisters. Our body isn't dramatically different yet, right? Maybe evolution is coming to manage all of the things we're talking about, the modern lifestyle, but we're not there yet. So in the meantime, the body is just when it has this bombardment of things that it's never dealt with for thousands of years, it will create cancers and disease because that it's a protective mechanism, right? To try to manage this onslaught of non-natural things.
Yes. You just summed it up perfectly. It's and that's why I tell people, I'm I get it. I know this is the life we're living, but we haven't evolved yet past this. We're mammals. The mitochondria don't understand that, they don't understand computers and Netflix. It's we are literally mammals, and they only understand the sun and the moon and, magnetism and natural EMFs. It's we can't change that right now. So if we want to feel good, if we want to enjoy life and feel our best, we just have to accept that there's not an alignment with this artificial way of living and feeling natural good health.
Right.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
Well, Tiffany, this has been an amazing conversation. If women listening are interested in getting in touch with you and working with you, how can they find you?
The best place is to go to my website. It's my name, tiffanycagwin.com. And Cagwin is spelled Cagwin. On my website, it has of course has all my socials and links to there, but you can directly book a call with me on the website. It goes to my calendar. I do complimentary discovery calls. That's the best way, is just let's have a conversation. I'd like to hear what's going on with people and see if it's a good fit and see if I think I can help. Cause I just really do want people to feel better and, be really empowered to live the life on their terms, and not like be struggling. So, I always like to have those conversations first and just see, where it goes. And, so just going on my website.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Tiffany, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been great.